What is up? Hope everybody is doing good. This is streaming live. I don't know. I was going to say what day it was, but it really doesn't matter because most every day is the same. But in a good way. I'm certainly not complaining. I get to do really cool stuff. I was doing really cool stuff for Bellator today, which is my main thing. And then I was chatting with my friend Tom over at BKB, commentating BKB or analyzing that on Saturday night. It's going to be a killer show. There's UFC this weekend. I'll be covering that for SportsCenter. And then next week, we're back to Bellator, which is really exciting. Oh, look, when I took that off, see my little Bellator B. Oh, there's another one. I just love analyzing and commentating and doing breakdowns and talking about, Bellator. That's what I'm into right now. But hey, we are all different and things change and you like some things more than others at different times. Let's take some questions. So I called this Ask Robin Black because I'm going to let people lead this. Robin, have you been to Banff? I have been to Banff. Banff is not just the sound that Nightcrawler makes when he teleports. It's a cool, beautiful town. Adam's about to tell you, Banff is close to Calgary. Yes, it's a beautiful little city, large town, small city, whatever it is, out towards Calgary. Gorgeous place. I spent some time in Canmore as well. I played Whistler with my band. I used to play in a rock band. We are hanging. We are talking about Bellator. We can talk about Francis and Stipe if you like. There's a Bellator light heavyweight Grand Prix that is happening. Oh, Sean is going to Banff on Saturday. Weird question. Well, there you go. And BKB this weekend as well. So anyone got any questions on any platform? I think it all kind of connects here. We will hang out. Today, I sent in a breakdown of, which I'm very, very excited about, Neiman Gracie and Jason Jackson, which is on Bellator 255. Just completed that. I don't know how I can show you that, but it's basically right here. See, there it is. So I actually have been recording them onto my phone lately, which is just crazy that the technology is there. This is my computer. You can do some different editing and stuff on here, and then you can record onto your phone. The fact that why do you prefer Bellator over UFC right now? That's a great question. And now, one, I really like the people, so that will always influence you because you're human, right? You're a human. And how we all interact with each other will affect you. But I like the fights. When I'm looking at footage, maybe it's also, we're all human. So I have been consuming UFC since, 20 plus years, right? Heavily watching the tape. And when I go to break something down, sometimes I request all these different angles, all these different things. And so I'll see the same thing in many different ways, overhead, slow motion, red cam, all these things. And so maybe I've just seen the one so much that the other is more appealing to me. The other kind of aesthetically, the look, the different camera shots, the different flavor, maybe it's something about that. Also, I really love the people. And then you get to know these fighters and I don't think anybody who actually consumes martial arts is surprised to hear that there are fighters in PFL that are as good or better than some fighters in the UFC, and there are fighters in Bellator better than both, and fighters in the UFC better than either. All the fighters are the same. They come from all over. They train in the same gyms. They have the same coaches. They spar with each other. Anyone who knows martial arts knows that. Actually, this is your best way if you ever want to know somebody who's like a noob or whatever you want to call them. If somebody is like, Bellator is a B league, you know that they actually just consume the largest mainstream corporate, the bigger broadcast with the bigger marketing budgets, right? Because that's the difference. The fighters are the same, from the same gym, same thing. Jason Jackson, who is fighting Neiman Gracie, he trains with Michael Chandler. And although one is larger than the other, when they train together, either one will have rounds that they win. In fact, Michael Chandler, who will fight for the UFC title, was defeated by one or two Bellator fighters on the way. So we all know this, right? So it's really more of a presentation of flavor, my experience with the businesses. So I'm a human. I'm colored by these biases. So this is interesting. Anthony, how are you, man? It's been great talking to you on Clubhouse. I don't know if how many people are on Clubhouse, but Clubhouse is just an app, right? If you're not on Clubhouse, I might be able to send you an invitation on Twitter. You get invited and then you're on there, and it's basically like a podcast where everybody can chat, right? Everybody can kind of interact. It's like a live podcast. There's like a stage and there's people chatting, and then you can bring people from the audience to chat. Super fun, super fun. Really allows and encourages some really dimensional thinking. Lots of people popping in, which is super cool. That's good to see you guys. I'm Adam. I'm picking Chandler to win. Michael Chandler is one of my favorite fighters. Oh, let me tell you about my day. Sorry, I was telling you. We'll get back to Michael Chandler. I was telling you about my day. Built a Neiman Gracie versus Jason Jackson breakdown. Submitted it to Bellator. That'll come out in the next week or so. A couple days ago, I did Pitbull versus Emmanuel Sanchez, like a brand new Fight Secrets, my sort of 15, 20-minute show for Bellator. That's coming out probably Bellator YouTube channel next week. I did a classic Mitrione and Fedor. I also did Bader and Fedor. But today, for another partnership that I have, also I met them through Bellator, in fact. I actually met Bellator through DAZN, and then met these guys through Bellator called Wave TV. Also, they have a site called Haymakers, and they asked me to interview Eddie Alvarez today and Demetrius Johnson. So I will be sharing those chats. So I chatted with Eddie Alvarez for 30 minutes today and Demetrius Johnson for 30 minutes. They're both fighting over in Asia for one championship. Their fight's coming up soon. So that was really interesting. I learned a lot. Eddie is they're two of the best ever. People think of Demetrius Johnson as one of the greatest ever. They are correct. People don't always think of Eddie Alvarez that way. They are incorrect. Eddie Alvarez is one of the greats ever. And in fact, we chatted a little bit about that he fights away often, which makes him money, but there's many things he can do. I wish Bellator would let you commentate. It's not so much of a let. They have talented people that do that. I will be commentating some things in the coming months. I got a gig doing some commentary and analysis in the live broadcast. That's coming up in a couple of weeks, but I'm not allowed to talk about it. But so I will be doing some more commentating. I am also contributing to the live broadcast of BKB this weekend. So I get to do a lot of commentary. I would not want to step on John or Josh or any of these guys who are great. But if there happens to be in the future some scenario in some European Bellator show, I'd fucking love to commentate Bellator too. I would love to. Once upon a time, commentating the UFC was my dream. Now, between you and me, commentating Bellator is actually probably my current dream. Hey, what's up, Robin? But these things change now. I'm not a need particular results kind of. I'm not at that point in my life where I have expectations or want things to go a certain way. I've really started to get used to allowing the world to unfold and accepting the world as it is and thriving, finding ways to thrive within it. I like curved red and blue gloves. I like the way you think. A lot of stuff here for sure. These killers there are killers that don't even fight in any of the big organizations. 100% true. We don't gotta, but we can separate business, marketing, promotion from artists and athletes. And there are fantastic martial artists fighting. Like I said, today I talked to Demetrius Johnson and Eddie Alvarez, two true greats, legends. They're fighting in Singapore next week. For one championship. Chatri, who runs one championship, and I have somebody mentioned a Clubhouse, a new app. Chatri and I have chatted within Clubhouse a little bit recently. Adam says Twitter has the Clubhouse feature now. I've been on there too. It's called Spaces. I've been a guest on there. Yo, who are you? So interesting, Mini Hunter. Super cool. If you don't know who the fuck somebody is and you're watching them, that's a big compliment. Interesting and a little odd, but really cool. And I'm in deep appreciation. Who am I? I am a guy who fought 9 professional fights, maybe a dozen or maybe 15, including other things, and competed in lots of martial arts. And now I analyze fighting for a living. Make a pretty good living, gotta admit. And I love what I do. With more and more fighters being cut from the UFC roster, do you think the smaller promotions will be able to absorb all of the excess talent? So we were just talking about that. Some places are getting the talent coming up. And that's something, again, my Bellator now, I have very close friends over time from working with them. And one of them is Rich Chow. Rich comes on my streams. I'll be probably my buddy Mallory and I will do a live stream, I hope, April 2nd during the Bellator broadcast. Rich Chow is the matchmaker. And I started to know Rich and his family really well over the last year and a half. And man, is he fucking good matchmaker. And he'll find like the real talent and get them straight to Bellator. So it's not like they need to be cut somewhere else. Like, they're all the same fighters. Some will go there. Some places you can get paid more like Bellator, you can get paid more as an entry level contract. From my understanding, I don't have deep insight. I don't see the contracts. Nobody tells me these things specific, but from what I pick up from being out and around, you might be able to get more as a 8-1 prospect in Bellator. So some kids are starting to realize, hey, this actually could be as good or a better a career. Just the marketing budget's different, but I'm being paid well, and I get to fight for a world title that's legit against real guys. So it's not even necessarily that they have to be cut. Make no mistake, the UFC is the biggest. They have the most money. They have the biggest reach. They're first to market in America in any meaningful way. They have the largest percentage of the best fighters are there. But especially the last 2 or 3 years, last 5, 6 years, by no means all of them. Michael Chandler, 6 months ago, fought for Bellator. He's fighting for the UFC title. Ben Henderson, who he beat in Bellator, was the WEC champion and the UFC champion. Eddie Alvarez, will fight for the #1 contender at 1, has been the Bellator champion, the Dream champion, the UFC champion. Like, the best of the best of the best. You want to go on the largest, highest budget marketing corporate show, you can. You want to go and travel to Japan and make 50 grand fighting and traveling the world, you can. Not everybody wants to take the same path. I mean, you're on this YouTube, man. Yeah, I don't know. I thought Mini Hunter was kind of cool that he just popped up and said, hey, I don't know who you are, but I'm here. It's like, cool. That's kind of neat. Thanks. Welcome. What else we got? You have said previously on your journey of knowledge, you reach periods of growth and periods of plateaus. What period do you think you're currently in and why? Okay, so thank you for a cool question. Yes, I do think that that's the case, and I think most of us do. I was interviewing Eddie Alvarez today, or doing a hang, like I like to think. I don't like to really write questions and ask and answer questions, although by today's standards, to do my job well, they'll cut small pieces and they use quotes. So I know that's part of my job, but I find that you get the best information by hanging and chatting. But Eddie was like talking about, for him, plateaus for him is when he's less motivated, and he's often less motivated when he's been going too long, training too long, too many fights in a row kind of thing. For me, I find the plateaus, I feel these periods of tension when I keep trying to learn in different ways. And I see the limitations of how we see things or how we talk about things. I use these examples all the time, but knockout power in both hands, striker versus grappler, et cetera, et cetera. All these isms are not true. There are limitations. If you stay there, you'll stop learning and you'll stop, getting a deeper understanding. So when I find these plateaus where I realize we've been trapped down a line of thought, where our understanding is limited by the words we use and the culture that we're in, I feel the stress of it. Right now, I'm in a highly motivated learning phase, doing phase. So I feel like I've just kind of fortunately got through one of those. I also recently received my purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is a very big accomplishment for me and a meaningful accomplishment for me. I got it from Justin Bruckman, someone I look up to deeply, a great professor, a second degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That process with him kind of reignited a particular line of thought. I'm doing cool work with Bellator. I'm doing really cool work with some other partners as well. Like I said, I got a really cool gig that I caught coming up in a few weeks that I'm not allowed to talk about. So I'll stop dropping it here. It's not the biggest thing in the world. People aren't going to be like, holy fuck, Robin, congratulations. Wow, I can't believe you're the mayor of New York City. But it's something cool for me. So all of these little things are kind of motivating me to learn in new and different ways. Robin, if a major promotion offered you a fight with CM Punk, would you take it? So CM Punk has become kind of a friend of mine. I like him. He's been on my stream a few times, and he's very good friends with some very good friends, and I like the guy. I also kind of really I appreciated his journey a hell of a lot more than a lot of people, because I had one that was similar, but actually less stressful. I was a singer in a rock band that people knew in Canada. I took my first fight, I lost. Took my second fight, I lost. Now I had 7 more fights and I won more than half of those. Uh, but I understood that, and I didn't have 1/100th of the pressure he had. So I appreciated his path a lot more. He's significantly larger than I am, but if he wanted to fight me, and somebody's going to pay us both money, they'd pay him this much because he's quite famous. They'd pay me this much, but I would, yeah. But I mean, I'm old and retired. I wasn't all that good in the beginning. I think I'm significantly more experienced than him, and significantly more martial arts experience than him. But he's fit and driven and tough. He's not afraid, and so make for a good fight. But I'm old and retired. My wife would kill me even for entertaining this idea. What do you think has the most star potential on the Bellator roster? Valerie. I don't know if you know Valerie, but Valerie is a black belt in Taekwondo, a multiple. I think sixth dan. I think I was saying seventh, but I think she's fifth or sixth. So I was speaking incorrectly. I got that wrong somewhere. But she's also a great fighter, action fighter, beautiful. Just has that thing. But there are many. There are many. There are some fighters. I'm really interested in these ones right now that I can tell people will come to late and then they will appreciate even more. And I think we're about to see a wave of that, where all of a sudden, say if Emmanuel Sanchez were to be able to defeat Pitbull people are starting to really appreciate. He's a big star in Brazil. People understand when he knocked out Michael Chandler at lightweight, when he's really a featherweight, and Michael will fight for the UFC lightweight title. If Michael wins it, people will be like, yeah, fuck, that Pitbull is legit. If Emmanuel Sanchez would defeat him, Emmanuel Sanchez is very interesting, very unique. He's got a cool mind. He's a tough fighter. He's one of these guys who could fight 20 times and nobody quite, really connected all of a sudden. Though there's a few of these in the UFC, in Bellator. I think there's the potential, and we saw it with Jorge Masvidal. We saw there's one or two others where all of a sudden people were like, I really care about this guy. Joe, Robin, I just referred to myself as the third person. Not something I ever do. Please forgive me. Joe and Brendan and all these people, including myself, we raved and ranted about Jorge Masvidal for years before he became a star. I think there is the potential of that for a number of guys. Juan Archuleta is a fascinating individual and a brilliant fighter and an interesting character. People might stumble onto him later. So I think that's an interesting thing for me. Many other great fighters in other promotions. I remember the Extreme Fighting Championship with Conan back in the day, always with other promotions. Yeah, there's some really great fighters all over the world. Robin, would you rather be undefeated in one weight division or have one loss but wins in 2 different weight classes? You're way the fuck out of my league. No, I'm not going to be undefeated in nothing. I'm not going to be in 2 divisions. And if I were to ever fight again, I had 9 pro fights. If I were ever to fight, I would fight at 145 instead of 135. But my wife would kill me for having this conversation. Yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine either. I lost my first 2 fights, and then I won more than I lost after that. But so for me, that's an impossible. I'd take either of those happily. Listen, fighting's fucking hard, and they'll all tell you that. Some of them won't because they don't feel like it, or there's some other part of the story, or they're selling a fight, or they've got a narrative that's important to them, or whatever. But fighting's fucking hard. It's hard. The fact that anybody is undefeated and fought great people, that's the thing. Like Izzy was undefeated, and he's lost in kickboxing, but even there, not often. And then he went up and fought and lost. Any real fighter, any person who walks these risk-taking paths will admire the shit out of Izzy. Anybody. Now, if you don't ever take risks, what you see when you see Izzy fail is you see that as a reminder that we shouldn't take risks. It's too dangerous. Better to stay safe. I don't think that's the answer to life. I don't think that's the way to live a good life. My life is, I'm one guy, so I can only reference my own. That's why I'm not trying to talk about myself. It's just the only life I have. I have lived it taking risks and looking stupid and trying and failing, and I'm living a really good life, and I'm fortunate, and but I find that's an important thing. Remember fight. Henry Corrales is another one. There's no reason Henry Corrales in Bellator couldn't be, people couldn't take to him the way they have taken to Jorge Masvidal. There's no reason. He's just as fascinating, just as visceral. All right, so Callum, who do you think wins this weekend, Francis or Stipe? Now, anyone who hangs with me a lot knows I don't know, and I never know, and I know nobody knows. And that for me, not leaning too hard one way or the other allows me to learn more. So I don't know. But what I'll tell you what I do know is I've been raving about Bellator, and I've been talking about another gig I got coming up. And my friends today for Haymakers, talking about to Eddie Alvarez. I'm very fortunate and I'm very thankful. I also do get to analyze the UFC. And I get to do the part that I love, which is the fights themselves. Not super interested, and not just with the UFC. Bellator won none of them. I'm not super interested in the news or the stories or the opinion or the gossip or the drama. I'm just interested in the martial arts. So my part of my job this week for the Canadian broadcast partner was breaking down a whole bunch of Francis Ngannou shit. And man, and I'm quite close with his original coach. So Fernand Lopez, we're friends, and I've worked for Fernand over in Africa. In fact, I got to commentate in Africa, and he talks about him. And Fernand is fucking smart. Just because 19 out of 20 people who know who Greg Jackson is, or Faraz Zahabi, might not necessarily know Fernand. He's brilliant. And when you look at what Francis does and can do, it's a lot more than we think when we see it. We see it, and I saw people saying, "Oh, it's just windmill punches." It isn't. It's very channeling or harnessing or expressing energy powerfully is a skill. We'll often say, "Oh, look how big that guy is! He's got so much power." Power is skill. Your musculature and your ability, the way that your nervous system works, the way that your kinetic chains of your body work. Using that is a skill. Running fast is a skill. Lifting weights is a skill. And hitting people hard is a skill. And he's fucking skilled. But the way to defeat him is, if he's on his back, try to make him tired and do that over and over again. That's what Stipe did last time. So what's the difference between Clubhouse and podcasts? Good question. I was talking about Clubhouse because I'm in a group there called the Fight Club, and I do a Clubhouse chat almost every day, at least 5 days a week. And it's like a podcast, but anyone listening can put up their hand and ask a question. And it's in, it's housed in an app. It's cool. People, trust me, you'll dig it. Hey, that's a great question. Hey, bro, what do you think of the Diaz brothers? I fucking think they're geniuses. So I've told this story before, and I've told it sitting in this chair looking into this thing. So maybe a couple of you have heard it, but I was in California, and AJ Agazaram was fighting, and Nate was there with him. And Nate, when he walks by, and Nate's done this to me twice. He walks by with his walk, and then he kind of looks and sees it's me, and then he just throws this little wave. And that's, to me, that's him going, "Yeah, I see a lot of people. I'll give you this." They treat me real fucking nice. Nick, who I'd never met in my life, at that show, AJ was fighting. Nick comes out, walks past like 30 people, and there's like that guy from Good Morning America there, and there's a couple of WWE wrestlers that walks right the fuck up to me and sticks his hand out and goes, "Hi, I'm Nick." I'm like, I know who the fuck you are. But I've been admiring not only the work of these guys, but how they live their lives for now decades, going on decades. And so I guess they noticed. But and shit like that often doesn't jump out at me like that. But with those guys, it definitely did. And weirdly, on the same night, Rampage did the same thing. He walked over and he's like, "Hi, I'm Rampage." I know who the fuck you are, but weird. And it's a strange thing when these people that you admire their work are going out of their way to let you know that they appreciate you in their ways. But I fucking love the Diaz Diaz brothers. I love the way they live. I love the way they think. I love how authentic they are. You know, we can't all, no, sorry, we shouldn't all try to live like the Diaz brothers in step-by-step, action for action, but we should all try to live like the Diaz brothers in the sense that we should be authentically us, whatever's real for us. If I started acting like Nate Diaz, I'd look like a fucking idiot, and I would be an idiot, and I'd be a fake. But if I'm me and acting like me and thinking like me and expressing myself like me, that's my version of living that way, right? I think they're brilliant. Many people watching fight commentary as opposed to the official UFC commentary. Do you think the bias has caused this? Many people watching fight companions. Oh, yeah, I've noticed that. I don't watch the commentary, and I haven't for years, except for Joe. And occasionally I'll peek in, you know, during the big ones. Dan Hardy's a friend. I like his work. I like Dominic Cruz's work. Every now and again I'll peek in. But I think this is happening. We identify it as bias. It's not bias. That's not the problem. The problem is the formula. The problem isn't the commentators. The problem is their bosses. The problem is the structures. The problem is the rundown. You get this piece of paper. I've worked in that environment. You get a piece of paper. It's going to go like this, then this, then this. Then we talk about this, and then we go to corn nuts, and then we talk about the main event. We'll talk about striking, talk about grappling. It's a formula. And then when you go to chat with them about the job, they say, well, guys, it's kind of a formula. And they fucking, like, they say that they want that. So at some point, they either will pick up that we don't want that, or they won't. And if they don't, then less and less people will watch the commentary. More and more people will complain about it. The problem is they won't know what to do. They've gone so far down that path of a formulaic, you know, presentation, packaging, that they don't know what the fuck to do. It's very difficult. When you create formulas and you create structures and you try to do everything a particular way, you get very good at that. And your answer is that deviated from the formula, so it's bad. Now you're going, wait a second, deviating from the formula is good? Well, how much? Well, what about the formula? So we didn't make a new formula? Like, it's very difficult to do. And so there, you know, that's some problem. But is it? Because unless people watch and unless they lose money, it's not really a problem. If the only problem is people complain, that's actually valuable to most companies, because when people complain, they engage. When they engage, it's helpful. Love you, Robin. Why are you hating on UFC commentary? I'm not hating on it. It's very formulaic. I think all those guys are really good. I think, so Bisping, DC, and Cruz, I think most of them to all of them, if we sat down and we chatted with them about martial arts, and while doing it, they're going, well, you know, we got to take these opportunities to make sure that we, you know, we show. And I said, hey, stop talking like a broadcaster and talk to me like a world champion fighter being honest. They'd be fucking brilliant, because they're brilliant. Those guys are all brilliant. I didn't turn it off because they're not brilliant. I turned it off because it's narrative, it's sound bites, it's structural, it's cliches, and that's what their bosses want. Trust me, I was in that system ever so briefly, and they'd be like, "Don't talk like this. Don't say that kind of stuff. That's too edgy. That's too weird." And literally, they'd be like, "Just say this." So you'd be like, well, you know, dimensionally, you know, the way that people can work between these different ranges, this is called that. No, just call it striking or grappling. I'd be like, but you know, that's not accurate. It's not real. No, but that's, you know, we got a lot of, and they'll literally, and I'm not trying to you know, knock anybody. I'm just giving my observation. In the world of podcasting, people are fairly truthful these days, which is cool. They would literally be like, we have a lot of casual viewers, so we have to do it this way. And it's like, but what about your diehards? What about the people who love this? Aren't we choosing to prioritize the less passionate over the more? Does that make any sense? So I'm not hating on those guys. I think they're brilliant. If you ask them to stop talking like a newscaster, they'll fucking blow your mind with everything they know. But if you put them into that role and you tell them be a newscaster, I don't enjoy it. But I'm just one guy. It was also very important for me, if I was going to progress, I either had to go, I too will be a newscaster, and I'll say, oh, amazing low kick. Oh, you're going to move to the outside. It's going to re-angle that, getting that jab up. Beautiful elbow. Oh, my, defended the takedown. Great takedown defense. I mean, if I did that might be short-term better for my job, but it's not going to be better for my passion and my life and my curiosity and my path and my goals in life. For me, I want to examine it truthfully. And I believe that and I've always believed that by doing that, there would be people who want it. And the more they do the other, the more unique it will be to do it the way you believe. And so it's been really good for me. It's ended up being really good for me. But it wasn't always easy. If UFC offers you a job commentating again, would you take the job again? I just want to see you back, bro. No, not if it meant I had to say bye to Bellator. No, I would not, because I just fucking love the people. I love the job. I love the fighters. But I get to analyze the UFC on the broadcast partner. So Chael works for Bellator and works for ESPN. I work for Bellator and TSN, which is the same thing. At one time, Dan worked for the UFC and BT. He no longer works for the UFC, so now he only works for BT. So BT, TSN, ESPN, all the broadcast partners. You live a much different life working for the broadcast partner than you do working for the league. And that would be the same as anybody who works for, Fox instead of the NFL. Like this is life stuff. This isn't job stuff. But I would not want to work for that company currently. Things could change. Many things often change. They could change. I could change. But if for some reason tomorrow suddenly everybody wants to hear my shit, which I don't think is likely, they did, and somebody called up, I'd be like, get Dana to call me, and I got to explain to him why the fuck I don't want this unless this were to happen. And let me tell you, that's not about to happen, because I'm not going to suddenly be the thing that everybody wants to hear. I'm a fringe thing. I'm a little weirder. I'm a little different. I come at it from an art perspective, not a sporting perspective, right? So that's not going to happen, trust me. But no, I would not. How comparable in terms of talent is the Bellator roster to the Prides and Strike Forces of old? That's a cool question. We could throw WEC in there. Carlos Condit was an interim champion, WEC. Ben Henderson, WEC, was the UFC champion. There's so many. There's Anthony Pettis was WEC champion, UFC champion. He's a pretty good chance to be the PFL champion as well. It's not easy. It's not easy. He's going to have to be at his best. Cowboy Cerrone. I mean, there was Demetrius Johnson, Jose Aldo, like Uriah Faber, like those were WEC fighters. Now the weight classes were different, but Condit and Ben Henderson, that's all. It's always been about the fighters. How we present it as a television program or as a sporting league or as a promoter or from a marketing standpoint, we get messages often from marketing, and we're just humans. It's, when we saw Elf in the movie Elf and he sees the world's greatest coffee, the reason that's funny is because we all see the world's greatest coffee all the time. We know not to believe it. It's marketing. But Elf sees the world's greatest coffee and he's like, holy fuck, it's the world's greatest coffee. And marketing is like that, right? So if you succumb to marketing, you think the UFC is the only place where the best fighters fight. And it is a place where a lot of the best fighters fight, and they put on great shows and they have cool promotion, and Francis and Stipe will be amazing. I mean, that's real. That's legit. But it's not the only place. That's marketing. If you don't understand that when Eddie Alvarez fought Michael Chandler in Bellator, that was probably the two best guys in the world at 155 pounds at the time, that's on you. No, it's not necessarily on you, because marketing's powerful. Marketing's powerful. We all succumb to it. Just want to say thanks for sharing your time and knowledge. Oh, wow, man. What a nice thing to say. Thank you. Francis has a puncher's chance. Now, that's just a slogan. It's not a real thing, right? Like, there's no such thing as a puncher's chance. That's just a thing people say on television. In reality, if he's in balance and he throws a punch at a time, I mean, how did he knock out? No, it wasn't him. It was Big, what's his name? Big Derek knocked out Curtis, right? Was that a puncher's chance? It was the same dynamic. They have different body types, but it was the same dynamic. He fucking punched him in the face in balance while he was moving. Doesn't matter what takedown he was attempting. Doesn't matter what sequence he ran. That's what we'll obsess over often. We'll be like, oh, he was trying for the single and then this. Sure, that's great. That's a television sporting thing. If we go to universal root principles, my weapon found your target, both of which were moving in a related dynamic, while I was in balance, and I hit you in a fucking vulnerable spot. You could call that a puncher's chance if you like, but that's just real. That's always there. If my weapon is fired in balance, in an efficient way, and it touches your target in a vulnerable spot, you can go to sleep. And that's always true. Are you familiar with Ryan Bowe, former MMA fighter? Yes, but I can't picture his face, but I do know him. I wonder if I've commentated one of his fights, Score Fighting Series, or one of these ones. I've now been commentating about, I don't know, 11 or 12 years, but I do remember that name, but I just can't picture his face. Greetings from Turkey. Love your analysis. Thanks. Thank you, my friend. Barbaros. Hi, Robin. Who would you give the edge to in a fight between John Pollock and Wei Ting? I think Wei. Now, John, so if anyone doesn't know these guys, they have a show, Post Wrestling. They cover pro wrestling the way that I cover MMA. And I love these guys, and I used to work with them. Wei, I think, has a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. And Wei is actually a very good jiu-jitsu player. So at least I don't know how much he's been training over the last year. I've been out of touch with those guys. But if you follow them, please tell them that I went with Wei. But I love both those guys. I was chatting with Pollock recently. They're wonderful people. People around the world respect you. Fuck, why is everyone being so nice to me? I'm not complaining. I'm very thankful. It's very, very nice. How did you score the Jan Izzy fight? I didn't really. I often don't, because I'm sort of looking at what is happening and what it may mean towards what is going to continue to happen, So I'm living in the fight, not in the minds of the judges. And my scoring is irrelevant. 2 out of 3 of those guys, that's relevant. So I don't know, but I felt like Jan had won the fight. I thought it was a really interesting fight. The things that Izzy did at the beginning that didn't quite take could have led to, imprinted some patterns in Jan's mind that could have led to him winning the fight by knockout later. It just didn't happen. But if he did win, the same things that people said, oh, that didn't work, well, it would have worked, right? This is the spider web of fights. 1 or 2 small changes at any point during that fight, and everything changes. That's every fight. That's every single fight. I showed Eddie Alvarez today when we were chatting. I showed him a point. His leg was wrecked. And then he was on the bottom getting hit, and he swept the guy to the top, and he finished him, Edward Foliang. And he's like, if he backed out, I might not have stood up. My leg was wrecked. And he had an injury before he got kicked in the ankle. And he was like, but he doesn't know that. And if he does, the fight's different. Instead of Eddie celebrating, Eddie's fucking on a 3-fight losing streak and gone to 1, been paid millions of dollars and lost some fights. That's every fight. That's every fight you win. It's every fight you lose. One thing changed it, and everything would change. If you got a Clubhouse invite, can you DM me? So hit me on Twitter right now and tell me, hey, we were just chatting, and I will. Anthony, join the Fight Club. If PFL is back next month, have you had a chance to break down any of their opening round fights? No, but I'm excited for Clay Collard and Anthony Bass too. It's going to be really good. I have some friends that work over there, and they love it, and some friends that have fought over there. Sarah Kaufman, I just was hanging out with her a couple of weeks ago. She was cornering a fighter I commentated out in British Columbia, Canada. And she said they treated her great, and she loved it. She really did. But, 155 is their weight class. She's 125, 135, so it's just not a good fit for her. Yeah, the structure makes them promote certain fighters who are more marketable for the promotion. That's why they push Izzy. He's more marketable than Jan. Yeah, but, Joe Silva and Joe Silva took a lot of heat a year or 2 ago for some reason because he had power. And then, so when there are power dynamics, he can say, you're taking this fight, or, it's just how power works. I've had bosses that are idiots that treat me like I'm an idiot. And we all have. And if any of us have been bosses, we've been like that. If we're brothers and sisters, we've treated our older or younger brother or sister in particular ways. This is human, right? It's just sort of why that happens. But Joe Silva used to say, people think we want X to win or Y to win. If they do, we'll set this up. He's like, I can't even think of that. I know every fight could go either way, and I act accordingly. And I don't know that they all do still, but I think they do. I think that's how you have to. You can't, be sitting there just hoping things happen all the time. You're going to be disappointed. Thank you for your honest insight into the business. You're very welcome. I don't think I'm ever giving away anything. So I'm an analyst. I don't play the role of a sports analyst. And analyzing shit is my lifestyle. That is how I live. So when I'm in things, I'm always trying to see what they are. And I'm trying to do it without judgment. I'm not trying to look at working for Bellator, working for the UFC, doing YouTube, whatever. I'm not trying to do it and judge it. I'm just trying to see what I can learn. And I generally try not to tell other people's business in ways that I think are important. Like I won't talk about how much someone got paid or things like that, but I will talk about the human dynamics of working. When you work for the NFL, Coca-Cola, wherever you work, if you own a business, that's people. People often will be like, blah, blah, blah. Dana said this about, Dan Hardy got fired. Dana fired him. Dana wouldn't fire anybody. Dana's one man in a jigsaw puzzle of executives. And, someone might be like, we're going to fire Dan. He's like, okay, if you have to. Like, he has to make deals with Abu Dhabi for $200 million. He doesn't have time to worry about my fucking breakdowns. Do you know what I mean? Often we think of like the UFC didn't want this fight. The UFC is a collection of people. Humans make these choices. And so once you understand that, you can work really much more comfortably. Somebody just, a thing I got to do that I want to do actually. On Thursday night, I'm going back to my I live in the country, but this is my YouTube studio. I'm going back tomorrow, but I might come back Thursday for this. We'll see. I'd like to. It's my friend Jay does a show on TSN, and it's so fun to hang out with, so creative. But yeah, I don't try to give away shit that is secret. I just think a lot of the time we don't understand. We watch Shark Tank and we watch, these structural things with interviews with, they're just people. They're just people doing people shit. Nobody's trying to fuck you. Nobody's trying to like steal from you. Well, I mean, business is dirty sometimes, but nobody's trying to like, it's not personal. They're just corporate machines. They're collections of people trying to do what's best, what they believe is best. What do you think about Khabib's official retirement? Will he come back or stay retired? Now, if I could see the future, that would be, I think he might stay retired. Yeah, I think he might be the rare one. But talk to Eddie about it again today. And Eddie's like, yeah, it's kind of the one that got away. Yeah, I would have really liked. I mean, think of who Eddie Alvarez fought. Like, who's up there right now? There's Poirier, there's Chandler, there's Justin Gaethje. He's fought all these guys. And Connor, he fought. He lost to Connor. He lost to Dustin, and then another one. It was close. He beat Justin. He beat Michael in a rematch. He didn't get to fight that guy. I'd love to see him still fighting because he's a genius. But he's a human, and I'm glad that human's happy. Really glad. So Bisping and DC make a lot of jokes that make me laugh. Yeah, they're fucking cool people. They're cool people. Both of those guys, really cool people. People to admire. Have you met Derek Lewis? No, I haven't. I'd like to. He's a character. What have you found out to be the best way to get more snap in your punches? So this, Emilio, my answer to this is not intended to be sort of evasive, but what I'm finding is useful for me, not about punching, but about thinking about these kinds of things, is realizing there's no single answer. When somebody asks somebody on television and I have 20 seconds, I'll be like, well, stomp the back foot and turn the knuckles, drill it repeatedly in this particular way. It's God-given talent, he's born with it. So, you rattle off a quick answer because and then we all think that although somebody did that not to be truthful, they did it because of the confines of television or radio or whatever. We think that's the truth. So we all think there's an answer, simple answer, concise answer, but there isn't. It's a lifetime of hard work. And that's not a very sexy answer, but it's true. Joe Rogan said Ronda could beat up most men at bantamweight. You sure there's no bias? That's not bias. He believed that. And it was kind of true, right? So that's not bias. It was sort of true. And she trained with many of them and other people who did and could submit them. So what's biased about that? Incorrect. You can argue that, although you are not a martial arts expert, I don't believe, and Joe is. Now I'm not making assumptions, but Joe is a martial arts expert. He believed that. Why did he believe it? Because there's some truth to it. It sounds crazy to you. That's okay. Often this, and we do this all the time. We'll be like, well, that sounds crazy. Why would this guy say this thing? The actual thing is, what am I missing that this expert believes something and I think they're crazy? What's more likely, the expert's crazy or I'm missing a lot of information, complex information? That's often true. We don't know anything. And I don't mean you, I mean all of us. We know close to nothing. In 600 years, what we will know about martial arts is probably this much, and what we currently know is this much. What Joe knows is this much. What somebody who doesn't study martial arts knows is this much. We don't know things, and we believe that we do, and it's very dangerous for us. The way that we live and the way we think, we believe we know things, and we don't. We don't. Wow, there's a lot of questions. I think. Fuck you, Brian. No, fuck you, Brian. What's your favorite fight movie and fight video game? Jeez. Bruce Lee's movies are my favorite, I think. They're an art to peaking in MMA. Again, I might get more followers on my YouTube channel if I gave you a quick answer, but the answer is it's fucking highly complex, and you will learn it over a lifetime, and we will hire somebody who will help us peak, and it will take him an hour and a half to be able to peak athletically, for him to explain it to us in a way that we would understand. So it's fucking complex. It's a life of working to learn it. Being a fight commentator and a fan, how much time do you spend a day or a week watching fights to catch all the live events? Are you always watching old footage? I am always watching old footage. I do not catch all the live events. I catch everything I'm working. I catch everything that's compelling. But it's impossible to watch all the live events because there's probably more than 24 hours a day worth of live events always. So it's impossible. So you have to choose. I definitely spend more time on old fights personally and fight footage than I do live fights. Look at this. I appreciate your voice. That's interesting and appreciate it. I was at different times in different environments with, that formula kind of thinking producers. They were like, you should take voice training. I'm like, I don't think that's the right approach. I think being different from each other is key, not trying to sound like a newscaster. And again, that's my thinking. That's why I'm a bad fit, say, at the UFC and certain other very mainstream things, because I think that's really old thinking. I think by the time we're learning how to have a newscaster voice, we're going to use it right now as he gets the jab off and the uppercut, steps to the outside, and boom. It's not going to be very useful. That's not me, right? Now, if somebody wants that, I'm a bad fit. And if they want that, they're a bad fit. So, but thank you. It's very kind of you. I have been told, have you thought, and literally in the UFC environment, it was like, have you thought about voice coaching? It's like, well, I was a professional singer. I use that in air quotes, but I made records. I narrate shit on TSN, and everybody at the network just loves my goofy narrative. It's just an older school of thinking. You should do it the way that Dan Rather does it, or Howard Cosell or whatever. The newer way of thinking is you're a little different. I got a lisp. I was born with a lisp. I have a speech impediment, but I eventually being yourself will be more valuable than having learned to be like other people. And we're starting to hit that point. Now I'm doing better in many ways: freedom, art, entertainment, finance, all of, comfort, happiness, by having stuck to what I believed. And I'm thrilled to say that. I'm also thrilled when I get to chat about that and I can encourage other people. It's like, listen, I know you feel like maybe taking a shortcut or doing something that you don't quite think is right will help you in the short term. But I swear to you, if you just hang in there longer, get a part-time job, do whatever you got to do, whatever the thing you're working on or your business or your ideas or whatever, sticking it out the long way will pay off. And I'm proof of it. I'm living better than I would have dreamed when I thought I knew what my dream was. So You know. By the way, my daughter loves your Muppet lunchbox. Wow. Yeah, that's my Muppets lunchbox. I love the Muppets. I don't know. I always have. That's the other kind of shit. It's like really some guy who talks about like cage fighting, likes the Muppets, used to play in a rock band wearing eye makeup. I watch RuPaul's Drag Race. That's my fucking favorite show, and I'm not bullshitting. And it's not just because my wife works in musical theater. I fucking love that show. I think it's brilliant. Um, I'm not afraid to say that. I'm not afraid to have my Muppets lunchbox. That's you should live authentically you. Who gives a fuck what somebody thinks about how you are? Don't let it change you. And be willing to change. Change is good, but not when it's the root, not when you're becoming something you aren't. Ryan Bowe fought in Japan. He retired in 2009. Yeah, I was doing a lot. I did commentate some of those Japanese fights then because I commentated the best of Deep and the best of Pancrase and Sengoku. I commentated hundreds of those in English, so I definitely did commentate. Andy Williams, I don't know that he was wrong. I worry he was dishonest. He wasn't. Honestly, Joe wasn't being dishonest. He believed that, and it's not wrong. At that time, she could take you down, throw you, and submit you if you were a 135-pound man that was the 16th best in the UFC at the time. That's true. It was true then, and it's still true then today. After she was defeated and people saw, oh, wait a second, she's not unstoppable when closing distance, getting a hold of you, taking the thing down, that would change. After that, then she may not defeat those guys because they wouldn't have an answer and she wouldn't seem unbeatable. But at that time, that was true. Just because she lost later doesn't make it not true in those moments. Let's be honest, the super fight we all want to see is Robin versus Luke Thomas. Luke is my friend. I was once very rude to him. Only once, but it was very rude. He's very big, but he doesn't know how to fight. So I should win that one, especially if there was a large space. I just smashed his leg until, he couldn't catch me. If there was a very small space, maybe he could grab me and try to smother me. But, I have a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. Like, I think I could get out of it. But more importantly, he's my friend. And I once was like a real asshole to him. It's like, hey, we all get to be an asshole a couple of times a year. We shouldn't, but sometimes we are, right? I apologized anyways. And I think we chatted about it briefly in a couple of texts, and I think we were cool. But the weird part about that is I was an asshole to my friend, which undermined my truthful belief that not him, but anyone that sort of plays the role of martial arts analyst but doesn't know martial arts, that's an illogical thing. And it's difficult to do it in truth. That I believe, but I undermined my own belief by being an asshole. If you are an asshole, if I am an asshole, the things we say will lose their value. And so I not only was a dick to a friend, but undermined my own point in doing so. But this is life. You live and learn, right? Could you break down Ngannou versus a rhino and who would win? Fucking, I don't know, man. I mean, if the rhino catches him with the horn, I got to think Francis is dead. But and I also think, I don't know, I haven't studied specifically the vulnerable spots on a rhino, but they look very difficult to hurt. But it would make a great interspecies fighting championship breakdown. There's a plethora of information and anecdotes on building a chin and preventing a KO, neck strengthening, flexibility, jaw muscles. Do you have any advice on this topic? I do. First of all, chin, we've started to think it's a thing. What it is a slang that was used in television to describe about 50 things. So your ability to take a punch, you're like, oh man, he's showing off a crazy chin, or that guy's got a hell of a beard. That's slang. That's just sound bites, not a thing. When somebody hits you and you don't get hurt, one of the most frequent things is you are moving away. So if you can do that all the time and you get hit all the time and you're able to stay relaxed and move away, you end up, people are like, this guy can take a hell of a punch. He's got a hell of a chin. You just move well. Right? That's one of the most frequent things. The other is, how relaxed are you? How well are you seeing? I mean, these things are all more important than fucking somebody drilling you and you not going to sleep. How well you see? How well are you moving? How relaxed are you? What kind of flow are you in? How are you managing your emotions and your stress and your tension? This is the worst way to take a punch than this. All of that. Those are the most important things. But again, chin power, these are not real things. These are slangs that were used in television that later we believed were real, which prevented us from understanding more dimensionally. So that's where I see when people are complaining about commentary or they're talking about bias. It's not bias, it's slang, it's formula, it's television. Television is not designed to be truthful. It's designed to be entertaining, or it's designed to keep your attention. It's designed to like carry you through to next week. It's not there to be truthful, but we think it is, and then we misunderstand the world around us. What else we got? No trolls. This is a special place. Yeah, but there are fucking no trolls, eh? How are we doing this? Yeah, over time, there's been less and less. I guess they're just bored of me. I don't mind though. And they pop up 1 in 1,000, 1 in 100, but yeah, I don't really react too often. Sometimes I'm tired or whatever, and I'll just be like, "Go fuck yourself." But I mean, how real of a good a reaction is that? Can you imagine spending all your time going to things you don't like and bothering people? That's a sad way to live. So I feel for them. No one who is living a great life is out there controlling people. So they're scared, anxious, uncertain. They feel out of control of things. Don't be mad at them. Feel for them. What's up, Pim? The MMA halls. If you don't know them, you do, though. I think if you know me, you know them. Those are my friends, and they're good people. And I can't wait to hang again. I hope you're still here. Uh, this is fun. I got another podcast with a friend. What do you think of Jeet? Oh, I mean, dude, Oh, sorry, double guns. I got two. Anyone who's got two Bruce Lees? They're two different Bruce Lees. This one goes into flow, the word flow, and then the water flows. And this one goes into the word crash, and then the water crashes. Oh no, flow, crash. I should know what's on myself. Yeah, I mean, Jeet Kune Do on Bruce would have, his own writing kind of suggests he would hate that it's even a thing. It was he had to name. He didn't have to name it. He named it, but it's a philosophy of using no way as the way and no limitation as limitation. And that's how I live. I never knew I was a Jeet Kune Do guy. When I even got Bruce Lee tattooed on me, I didn't have the connection to his thinking that I do today. The reason I got it was because my tattoo artist was in Hong Kong, and there was a Bruce Lee shrine, and he drew these two beautiful pictures, and he said, "I think you should have them both." And I was like, "Okay," but yeah, that's genius. That's the philosophy of fighting. That is the philosophy, as best we understand it, of fighting. Bruce Lee still to this day. I mean, Dan Inosanto has progressed the understanding massively since Bruce, and he should probably get more credit, but I don't think he gives a shit. I don't know that for sure, but it is the philosophy of fighting, the best that we have. Khabib is getting his own promotion on Fight Pass and trying to be coach of the year. Well, good for him. I don't know if that's so. Amanda Nunes versus CM Punk, who wins? Amanda would win. I mean, it's a skill thing, right? Amanda's highly skilled, a lifetime of skill, big and powerful and strong and athletic, and CM Punk is less skilled and very game and loves martial arts and stuff. But I mean, Amanda Nunes is going to beat every man under 160 pounds who is purple belt or lower, who has, doesn't have a high game of kickboxing. She's going to defeat all of them, Chael 7 said Ronda can't beat any dudes. Chael's the best. Chael's my guy. I'm never going to fucking disagree with Chael. Chael's more likely to say something for entertainment purposes, provocation, enjoyment, the fun of it, to create debate than Joe is. So of the two, and that's no disrespect. Nobody loves Chael more than me. Chael's been great to me. True. CM Punk is the greatest heavyweight. He's not a heavyweight. Tank Abbott told Ronda to make him a ham sandwich. That's not cool, man. That's not cool. Bisping was in Hardy's place in the latest episode of Inside the Octagon. I hope they haven't bend him too. He has a similar passion for the arts and slightly more violent. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on in that company. It's just not my business. And I get to analyze the great fights that promotion puts on on television in Canada. That's plenty for me. I'm obsessed with Bellator lately, and I got really other fun stuff. So, do you think MMA should be in the Olympics? Yeah, but it's a weird time. So, remember some years ago you predicted that the next evolution of MMA would be strikes used for what you call limb destruction. Do you think we're seeing that? Fuck, I guess so. Yeah, thanks for remembering that limb destruction. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess that's what we're seeing. Where can we find your music? I don't recommend it, but I would say YouTube. Just go on YouTube in the search bar and put in Robin Black music or rock or something. What is next MMA in Canada? I was just out in BC. There'll be more there. You probably have. He fought in Deep, Mars, and Shudo. Yes, I did. Yeah, I definitely did. Right. Sorry, guys. Late here. Got to get some sleep. Duty of care and all that. We'll see. Well, good night if you're still here. It's Bink from the old school Batman series. No, but that's how this one was drawn. These are my friends, Art of Combat, and they made this, and they did it with a headbutt because I'm obsessed with Letway, which allows headbutts. It's a Burmese bare knuckle boxing that allows headbutts and other weapons. So happy when I saw this notification. That's an impact far beyond just one sport or mindset. Genuinely look forward to hearing about your perception of the world. Thanks. Fuck, man. No trolls and the nicest people in the world. I'm gonna have to jump off here in about 10 minutes. So let's see. Hawani versus Robin for Canadian MMA broadcasting GOAT. It's interesting. You guys have very different philosophies. He really likes to fixate and examine the narrative while you can deconstruct them. Yeah, he's my friend, and I like him. And we are very different. And but I don't try to deconstruct them. I try to avoid them. I think I don't like narratives, but I don't dislike anyone who does like narratives. I like to look, but yeah, you're right. We're very different. I'm obsessed with the martial arts. He loves the story, right? And the things around it. Do you like the band Tool? I do. Yeah. What do you think of Tarantino disrespecting Bruce Lee? That was uncalled for. Not a fan of that. And I like Quentin Tarantino. I was not a fan of that. Good questions on YouTube. I think I ended up being the last person on the Facebook Live. Always a pleasure, Robin. Thank you. Do you think heavyweight class should have no limit? Yeah, I'm down with that. I'm down with that. Calf kicks. Yeah, it's interesting. Say was like, yeah, you were talking about limb destruction years ago. And that is, I guess, what that is. Calf kicks is, very old. There's nothing new about that. It's popular. It's like bell bottoms or, punk rock. It's a trend. Trends don't happen in a vacuum. This trend happened because people started fighting further away. Further away you fight. All of a sudden, longest weapon to the closest target. That's your calf, my foot. That's why. Right? And it'll go away. People start getting knocked out throwing calf kicks, and that'll be the end of that. And it's already happening. I think Jan knocked out Corey Anderson maybe with a right hand mid calf kick. I'm not sure about that, but there's been a few lately. As soon as that happens repeatedly, then they're over. Dan Hardy is a good analyst. Yeah, Dan's my friend. Yeah, he is. I think Dan's a martial artist, and he likes chatting about it. He and I have hung out and talked about martial arts many times. We've been in touch quite a bit lately. Bellator fight you're looking most forward to. Okay, Manuel Sanchez and Patricio Pitbull, super into it. Because I really broke down their last one. But let's take a look. Really into Gracie and Jason Jackson. Did a 2-minute breakdown, just submitted it today. They got it. It'll come out in the next, I don't know, probably early next week. Super into that fight. Fucking super into it. Bader, Machida, Corey Anderson, and Yagshmuradov. I did watch some of his ACB fights. Very dangerous guy. Very interesting. Good to see Julia Budd back. And then you got to get to Anthony Johnson and Joel Romero. The fuck is that even? Like, you know what I mean? There's the odd person. It's like, why are they fighting in the first round? It's like, if they can fight, make it. Like, people break their legs, somebody gets injured, somebody, gets COVID and like shit gets canceled. Fucking fight them. They want to fight. We want to see them fight. Get them fight. Super into that. Obviously, calf kicks are a form of limb destruction and other techniques. Do you think will take hold in a similar fashion? Yeah, they already are. I've been talking to fighters like crazy for the last couple of years that whenever someone posts to attack that arm, kick it. It's illegal, right? Take that arm. And I'm seeing it in gyms. I didn't fucking come up with that, but something we've been seeing. Also, there's a lot of kicks to the arm going on. People think when we commentate it, we'll often say, "Oh, blocked," It's not blocked. If he's trying to kick me in the ribs and I put my arm there, that's not blocked. I got kicked in the arm. A lot of times people just start kicking the arms. You know, smash, smash, smash. The arm drops, we can kick him in the head. Or the arms just don't work as well when we're grappling. A lot of arm kicks going on. Goddamn, Bellator is going off. I know, right? I love working for them, but I'm loving the fighters. I love the fights. I love the broadcasts. I get to do streams live. Last one I did, I had Chuck Liddell for 5 hours watching Bellator with me. It was super fun. Me and my buddy Mallory. I gotta go. Oh, wait. Why can't we hug? Well, there's this global pandemic. It's a bit of a drag. Why can't we get AJ McKee every month? Yeah. He's taken like 30 hits in his 3 fights. Yeah, I know. He's a genius. AJ's brilliant. I can't wait for that. AJ versus the winner of Emmanuel and Pitbull. Okay, I gotta go. This has been a super slice. I'm not probably going to be able to tag this up on my YouTube. I don't know where you're watching this because I got a bunch of stuff and I'm hitting another podcast. But thanks everybody who's hung out. I'm trying to do this every week, but I have the good fortune of having a lot of fun work. So I don't get to do this as much, just have one and hang out. But it was really fun. And I want to thank all you guys for hanging. And I will try to be back. I'm going to try to be live 20 to 30 minutes after Ngannou versus Stipe. All right. How about that? Thanks, everybody. Much love. Until next time, enjoy the hostilities, my friends.